This is episode 6 of the At the Repair Value. I'm now here in Savannah, Georgia, with the one and only Brittney Harrison. She has been done wonders for my own personal credit. She has done wonders for a lot of realtors and clients that I have worked with over the years. And because I was in the area, it just made sense to catch up with her, go over all the many clients that we work with, and what better person to have on episode 6 with the At the Repair Value. So here we are. We're going straight to it. We didn't have no talking points. I just told her, look, I'm coming down here last minute. Do you have time to do a podcast episode? So we had to come into our office, rearrange everything, and here we are. So Brittney, introduce yourself, and let's go for it. What you got?
Wow, Alan, thank you, everybody. I feel so good, Alan, first of all, to be on your podcast. I know how much effort and time you really put into this. So I'm honored, honestly, to be sitting here with you. This guy and I, we make a lot of money together. And so this was just the perfect timing for us to do this. So just to tell y'all a little bit about myself, I reside in Savannah, Georgia. I have been in the credit industry now for the last 9 years. This January made 9 years. I'm a mom of one, and I love what I do. I also help publish books. And I do so many things. I'm a mentor, aunt. I really wear a lot of hats, but my main thing is I'm a woman of God, and I really do strive to just amplify that in everything that I do. And so again, I'm just here to give some gems. I'm no fluff. I love to give it raw and be straight up. And so I hope that after this podcast that you can walk away with something.
Man, that's awesome. This is your first episode of At the Repair Value. I'm going to explain why I started this podcast and how me and her interacting today, each step of the ARV process on just asking Brittney questions on how it helps her out and how it can help others out. So the reason why I started this podcast is because I've been in the real estate industry for going on 9 years now. And for the last couple of years, me being active duty, now currently in the Air Force, and me pretty much mainly being a referral agent in my business with my real estate license, my loan officer license, my title license, my newly uh, license with my life insurance license. I've been mainly just referring business out in different areas, whether it's in Baltimore, Maryland, which is my hometown, or whether it's been in Fort Lauderdale or Atlanta, Georgia, where I lived at. I'm in a position now where, because over these years, I've built up all these clients over the years, I had to be really cautious on who I vet to be able to take that client and be able to give them to that particular person. Especially with Brittney's aspect of the credit part is so sensitive, somebody's personal information. And I've went through a lot of credit people. I told it before her. A lot of people started off strong and then fell off. But with her, she kept that same tenacity that I had. And I thought that was really key because I'm really hands-on with my clients. Sometimes I might call a client 3 or 4, 5 times a day. And she would be that person in that beginning part of the process that was so key for someone who is ultimately trying to buy a house. So it was just a perfect connection for her to be able to start with a client who has these credit issues and then being vulnerable enough to be able to give her the information and be able to help restore them to have a perfect transition over for me. So at the repair value, I felt like my voice needed to be heard more. A lot of times I would be behind the scenes these last couple of years. I would watch other realtors or other loan officers do what they do. And I felt like it was a time where I would see that the industry lacked more people talking more about what's happening behind the scenes, what stress they went through, what obstacles they went through. And I felt like me doing this podcast, you can get other avenues outside of mine with business partners that I work with where you can kind of see what they go through behind the scenes, and it can just give you a newfound respect from a different avenue of what we go through when we deal with so many clients. So the at the repair value, step one of the at the repair value is the fixer upper stage. It's the part of your life, mentally or physically, where you know that you can do better. It's the part of your life where you may not know what direction in your career where you want to go. So some of the questions that I'm be asking Brittney is in that avenue when you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do with your career, we'll dig deep into that part. That's the fixer upper part of her. The second part that we're going to talk about is that renovation part, that repair part. Just like on a house that you need to renovate that isn't a fixer upper stage, we're going to talk about mentally, how does she fix herself up? What renovation process did she go through? Who are her mentors? What education did she seek? So that's the second part of the podcast that we're going to discuss. And the third part is the active repair value, that finished product, which we know is still ongoing, but currently where she's at today, how does she get there? What gems does she have? And how does she ultimately serve her community and other people that may want to get into the credit business, or just individuals who just want to be able to purchase that house? So those are the three steps that we're going to talk about today to give you an idea why I started this podcast, because I felt like these gems that we give can help so many people worldwide, not just in the real estate professional or credit perspective, but just ultimately in their life. Because we want to be able to, yes, help and serve in the sense of our business, but also we want to be able to help people personally through their own personal challenges that they go through. So, wow. With that being said, we're going to go with step one, the fixer upper part. So, Brittney, when you were in that stage, that fixer upper, that what am I going to do with my life? Where were you before you became such a goddess in the credit industry?
Wow. First of all, thank you for the guidance part. I'm excited to listen to this because I'm just like, wow, Alan. First of all, I just have to say, just you coming up with the name of your podcast and breaking it down, it's just so genius, so dope, so unique. Y'all heard it first. I've never heard anybody have like a deep meaning behind their name, So I love that. I just wanted to say that. Secondly, for me, prior to the credit business, I've always been a hotel girl. I went to college actually for hotel management, hospitality industry. Didn't graduate because I ended up becoming somewhat like the GM at the Quality Inn at 22 years old. I've always had a great work ethic. Honestly, I was the type of person that will walk to work. Literally, if my mom was here, she'll tell you. I literally did walk to work. 6 in the morning, never was late. It didn't matter if I turned up the night before. I was going to get to work. I've always been a girl of great work ethic. It did not matter at a young age. My managers always saw greatness in me. If they were here to witness it, they're not shocked at where I am in life because they always just knew that I was a leader. I hired all my friends. When I worked at the hotel, we had a restaurant attached. Everybody was hired. Really, they did. I did the interviews. So my personality now is just who I am. People who know me is like, yeah, that's Brittney. And so that's who I was, Alan. I was a young lady trying to figure it out. But fast forward, I ended up moving to Atlanta. Okay. And when I moved to Atlanta, I moved in with two of my best friends at the time, and they were twins. And we moved in together, and they ended up moving. We were doing good for about 6 months. I was on the bus and train. I didn't have a car. Had a car, but it got repossessed in college, not paying a bill, just turning up, making good money. Now, y'all done just heard me say I was a GM, or somewhat like the GM, right, just not spend wisely. But that's a whole other thing. We'll get to that. And so with the twins, make a long story short, everything is going well. They ended up moving someone into the house without consulting me. They moved their cousin all the way from New Jersey, and I'm making that point because this was premeditated. And she had 3 children. At this time, I didn't have kids, and neither did they. Only one sister did. So one child was enough in the house. We only 24. This supposed to be just girls getting our life together. So fast forward, of course, I'm livid because I find out she moved into the house by realizing it's somebody's thing in my bathroom. And that's when I found out, wow, y'all brought your cousin here with 3 children and did not consult me. We got into a bad argument. It was heated. Of course, they're twins. It was terrible. These were my close friends from Savannah, Georgia. We knew each other since we was like 14. But I'm making a point. God will allow you to be distraught, sad, because it's propelling you. Had I not fell out with them, Alan, I probably would have still been roommates with them, still carless, still mismanaging my money. Yeah. My mom came to visit one day and she was like, Britt, why are you not unpacked? And I said, I don't think I'm going to be here long. Me and her talk about this to this day. We didn't even fall out yet. We were good friends at this point. Make a long story short, Alan, the rent was coming up. Thank God my name was not on the lease. I knew I had literally 7 days. Me and you know how important the number 7 is. Yeah, to move. Wow. My credit at this point, I didn't know much about credit. I'm 24 at this time, 23 maybe, going into 24. I'm looking for a place out there, running my credit, running my credit. I went to about 5 different apartments. I'm not getting approved. I had to move into a hotel for 3 days. Now that was severe for me because honestly, I grew up pretty decent. Right. So 3 days I felt homeless. Like, I've never been through nothing like that. So that was like, wow. And I had to spend my money. So this is digging into my money that I would put my deposit down for rent. God let on that 7th day when I was about to check out the hotel, one apartment complex called me. And the man didn't even give me the yes. He told me to come into the place. I'm like, Lord, if this man wastes my time, he tell me how to get approval. He brings me in and he says, looking at your rental history, and this is something to listen to. Because a lot of y'all don't understand that your history follows you, even if you are late. You may not have left off on bad standing with your apartment complex or where you are currently renting, but they keep track of your rental history because that is a reflection of who you are. At this point, I didn't know. The man tells me that at your old apartment in college, you were late 12 times out of the 3 years you lived there. He was like, I'm going to be honest, you're young. 12 times is not that bad out of 3 years. So he ended up telling me he's going to allow me to move in. My credit, I got it by the skin of my teeth. Y'all, I was so happy for my first apartment, $600. Had my blow-up bed, air mattress, did not care. It was really humbling beginning, but those two ladies, those two girls ended up, and I'm not gloating about this, but they ended up moving from that place maybe 4 months later. I found out through somebody else. They couldn't even manage the place because my rent was no longer being put in. One of the sisters wasn't even working. Right. And the girl who moved with the 3 children didn't, she was all over the place. Right. So it was dumb for them to even do that, but it was smart for God to allow it to happen. Mm-hmm. So wherever you currently are, I'm telling you, you would think it is like an inconvenience for you, but God will allow you to be inconvenienced and uncomfortable so that you can propel. This situation allowed me then, Alan, to be in my apartment and start working on my credit. And I found a guy named Dominique. Shout out to Dominique. He was one of the only people who I know doing credit really heavily like that. God bless him wherever he is. He really is one of the OGs. This was almost 10 years ago. That God. Signed up with him and married, doing his thing, like successful. I'm like, wow, this guy look like he doing his thing. Signed up for the credit, stayed with him for 2 months with the services. And one day I'm just laying on my blow up bed, literally my blow up bed, and it just hit me with God. I'm like, I wonder if I could do what he's doing. Then I'm like, you probably need a degree for that. Or maybe like a license, something. I'm thinking what he's doing is like, I don't know. Like, you don't know. Exactly. So I end up Googling it, and I end up finding the type of software he uses. Remember, I'm a smart girl, very smart. Okay, I found out what type of software because I can look at the system he's using with me, and it matched it. So now I'm like, oh, anybody could do this. And then it just went out. I mean, my brain, I remember with my little Acer computer laptop, just trying to find it. Yes. Yeah. Looking, I'm at the Hyatt. At this point, I'm working at the Hyatt Regency, one of the biggest hotels in Atlanta, downtown. One of the most prestigious. It's the biggest conference hotel, or one of the biggest conference. It was the original tallest building. Now, tons of buildings supersede that building, but it was the tallest at one point. And so I'm working at the front desk and making my money, and I'm on their computer creating my website. So this is another pointer. Wherever you are now, if you are working your 9 to 5, use your time wisely depending on your job and work on your dream. I was at the front desk in between checking in clients. This is not a little hotel. On a slow day, Alan, we checking in 300 people. When we see like a shift. On a shift. Like, this is my shift. This is my shift. When we see 300, it's like, oh, it's just 300. Right. It's like, oh, that's okay. But it's a lot. On a busy day, it's 1,200. And I'm at the VIP desk. Remember, y'all, I just had hotel experience. So, know, and I'm this girl. It's the customer service I want wherever you are now. Do not despise your 9 to 5. See, your 9 to 5 is really training for your next level. God wants to see how you operate and run someone else's business. When I worked these positions, I was on time. I wasn't wrinkled. I was voted best dressed. I came, and it was a uniform best dress. I came with the aesthetic. I came with a good attitude. I won a whole contest tickets to go to Vegas, all expense paid, and was able to bring somebody with me. We had a shopping spree. I had laptops, computers. My parents, I gave a cruise to the Bahamas. I was able to pick everything. It was I mean, it was something like, wow. Like, now that I'm 34 and I look back, I'm like, wow, I want a whole thing.
But it pays you though. You was able to use that 9 to 5 when you didn't, like you said, you don't despise it. Because it created the fundamentals. And you took those fundamentals from that and was able to transition it over to your credit business. But it's crazy to hear that because it's like you had the fixer upper, you had the scenario, you had the struggle, and you took that scenario and your struggle where it was like, I'm not going to be in a situation no more.
No.
And I think it's good for people to hear that, especially because all they see is, look, I'm helping you with this, I'm helping you fix your credit, I'm helping you get this collection off. But what did she go through?
Yeah.
So now, like, when you talk to clients after they see this, it's like, she's been through something too. I think that's so important. Just for some clients to be like, okay, I understand that you help restore credit, but what did you go through? You know, they say, I understand that you help people get from one place in real estate to another, but what did you go through? I went through 1,800 days incarcerated to helping people be in better places of life. So I think it's good to hear your fixer upper so that when people work with you and they see this, it's like, this is what she's been through.
Right.
She has a certain passion behind us because she went through it. Right. It's not just, oh, okay, let me just fix your credit. It's like, it's a reason why you're a credit specialist. So I definitely am glad that you mentioned that. So that's one part of the fixer up. I don't want to transition quite yet to the next part, but okay, so you're a credit specialist, and in that sense, when you did obtain that role of now saying, "Hey, I'm a credit specialist. This is what I want to do." What are some of your big obstacles that happened when you did finally say, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I'm leaving the hotel to now transition over here. This is what I'm doing now." What were some of your obstacles that you had to face along the way that even maybe almost made you second guess you even doing?
No mentor and no results. Honestly, the first 3 months of running my business, I was not getting results. So if you in the industry and you are feeling very leery or just discouraged about does this work, it really does. You need a mentor. I didn't have a mentor. I literally Google credit was not big like this, Alan.
Right.
It really was not. It was not at all. At least not people running their business, showing it and doing it. It was not. It was one guy by the name of Derek. Shout out to him. He honestly was not the best mentor, but I will say he was somebody that I admired, that I saw was black doing his thing. And so another man, it wasn't a lot of women dominant in the credit industry, but I did have some tips from him. But honestly, Alan, it was the no results. It really had me wanting to just doubt myself. And I felt like, okay, maybe I need to charge very little. And I did. Because I knew I was not sure too much about what I was doing, I had to humble myself and bring my prices down. And so this is another plug to somebody, depending on what business you are in, you may need to, it's not that you're devaluing yourself, but understand if you are still learning, don't try to charge the same price that somebody else that's been in the industry and may know way more than you or has more of a budget try to be on their level. Come in and just get the clientele.
I like that. Definitely. Okay. So no mentor, no results. That was kind of putting you on the fence where you was like, you know what? I'm not seeing no results. I don't have no mentor. Should I even be doing this in the first place? And I think that's a formula that I like that you said that we can really highlight there. No mentor, no results. I think people really need to dig that in because I owe all my success to my mentors. I had multiple mentors. So if I had to give a piggyback to what you're saying, no mentor, no results. When you get a mentor, you should have multiple mentors that give you even more results because even in our industry, although it's credit or real estate, regardless of what it is, there's different facets in our industry. You know, there's times where you might be working with clients that's using for an auto loan compared to somebody who's trying to buy a house. So that's a different facet, which can require a different mentor. Like for me, I might be helping somebody buy a house compared to trying to help them sell a house. So the mentor that I'm using to help them sell a house compared to a mentor that's trying to help them buy a house is two different strategies. And with that, I might be more lenient to want to learn more about being a buyer agent compared to being a selling agent. Just like you might be more lenient to having clients who want auto loans compared to clients that want real estate. So I think just to add to that, which I love that you said, no mentor, no results. We'll also say underneath that, having multiple mentors can give you more results in different avenues because different mentors will teach you different ways and different aspects of your business. So that's what came to my mind when you said that, which I think is great. And from a personal side, take the business out of it or the fixer upper side. What personal issues while you were going through this transition that could have also kind of like put a damper in what your dreams were? Do you have any situations?
Do I have enough time? Yeah, honestly, I could just say these two things that I have been very transparent on. So, as my business started to just go up, of course, now you know it was a little shaky, but it didn't stay that way because I ended up getting mentored. Not deeply, but I honestly Google, honestly YouTube, going to different conferences. I'm gonna be honest, meeting other nationalities. Let's just keep it real. That's another piece I want to say. Stop always thinking it's just gonna be us that give you tips. I will say some of my biggest tips and things that I know honestly, Alan, and credit was from other nationalities. I will be honest, going to events, conferences, we a lot of times blacks we gatekeep, we get very competitive. And so me going to different events that had different nationalities there, that's when I started to thrive. 2018, I'm seeing like, ooh, I'm hitting my first 100,000, right? And so COVID was like the biggest year that I've ever seen in my business. But then also my marriage just went just straight to just, I mean, I don't want to say trash, but you know, it ended up dissolving. God allowed things to go how it went. And so with that, me now having a business that's thriving, but then my personal life is just going down the drain. Seems like I have to move. Now we're trying to figure out co-parenting. You know, I'm now starting to feel myself. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm making money. So I can see the difference of the 29-year-old Brittney and the 34, 28 going into 29 and 34-year-old Brittney. I can take ownership and say that money started to kind of maybe get to my head a little bit. I'm just being honest. You know, I've never seen that much money in my life, so I felt like, please, if a person want to leave, goodbye. You know, I was not in the mood to just really try to work on anything too much, you know, and for my own reasons. But I would say, Alan, that was one thing. And then in 2020, with me not allowing myself to heal, and this is another piece, a lot of times as people, we jump from thing to thing. It's just a thing, you know, as humans, we just feel like, okay, on to the next. Me not doing my due diligence to heal properly, I ended up meeting someone who I thought would be a good business partner. And this person ended up proposing something to me that they could elevate my whole career. And they ended up pretty much, you could say, robbing me in a sense because I have not gotten majority of my money back. It was thousands of dollars that I gave this person thinking that they would be a mentor to me, and they were not. You know, it wasn't. They ended up not keeping their end of the bargain. And when I asked for a refund, they agreed to give me the refund. They gave me 6,000 of my dollars, and ended up owing me a lot. And so, with that, one big lesson that I take huge accountability in, Alan, is the healing piece and not allowing God to heighten my discernment, moving too fast, being too anxious for the next level. Sometimes we feel like another person can give us tips when we don't even realize we got all the tips we need. We think we need a mentor, and sometimes you have everything you need. You know, you brought enough classes, you brought enough ebooks, use the information you have. And so hindsight is 2020. When I look back at the things this person proposed to me, I didn't need their help for the things that they proposed for me. But had myself been more healed and more stable up here, I would have known you can't really offer me what you're saying because your life doesn't even show you could do that for you. And so that's another thing. If you are currently looking for a mentor, do your due diligence. Research. Look at their lifestyle. Are they a big spender? Do you see how they are with their family? Because that tells a lot about a person as well. Pay attention. Don't be deceived by the social media. So that's what I would say out there.
Man. And you could tell just by talking to you, I know you kind of kept it brief in the sense of, I know there was a certain pain that you had to go through in that healing process. It does transition over to our second part of the ARV process. It's the repairs, the renovation parts of you. You were at this stage, and you mentioned parts, certain words that stuck out in me was accountability. when you are in this stage where you're trying to get there and you're going through and overcoming these obstacles, just like when you purchase a house that needs to be repaired and you assess it, now you know what you need to work on. You know that, accountability needs to be important. Discernment is something that you got to be aware of. Now that, the decisions you make with your money, the decisions you make with your own personal life, you got to be more cautious on how you move. So now you at this stage where you got the fixer upper mentality. Now you add, okay, just like a house, I need to change the windows, I need to change the doors, I need to paint the walls, I need to make this presentable enough so that I can have this great finished product. So you're going through this journey that you're still going through. We all go through it. But while you're going through this journey, what sacrifices that you have to make along the way for you not to get back here? What was your renovation? Who were people in your life that kept you going, or things that kept you going while you were getting past this fixer upper stage of yourself and now moving on to that better transition?
Wow. I would say the first person that came to my mind, I'm going to be honest, was my friend Rhonda. She was the person, I promise to you, Alex, if she was not in my life during that time, I would have, I could see how people think bad thoughts to want to hurt somebody really bad. I never had those thoughts. I would hear, you hear somebody kill somebody or did something, you'd be like, now why they go that far? I really did have those thoughts of like, wow, if something was happening to him bad, I wouldn't care. And I thank God for her accountability because she was just a listening ear. I remember I went on my trip to Aruba and I was by myself. I was turning 30 years old and I cried that whole entire trip. I flew first class. I'm on this beautiful country. In this beautiful country, I have the most money I could ever have, and I am sad because I'm just like, how in the world did I just get got? I'm supposed to be smart, remember? And so I just couldn't understand that, and I thank God for her being a good listening ear, but then also telling me what I needed to hear, reminded me of the things that could have went worse because it could have really been worse than what it is. And so that would be the first person. I didn't honestly tell my mom if she watches this should be her first time hearing it. It's certain things, and I'm gonna be honest, this is another tip. If you have certain people in your life and they mean well, but a lot of times their advice during certain situations is just not needed. It can cause you to go even more spiral down. Then hold off. So many times we want to run our mouth too much, Alan, share all of our downfalls and sadness, and it's not needed with the wrong people, even though they may mean well. Their advice is just like no, and especially when it's a parent. So I didn't do that, right? You understand that. Yeah. So you understand?
Love our parents. Love.
We love them, though. We do, but we don't want to stress y'all out. We rather just try to figure out certain things. Okay, so that would be one thing, Alan. Honestly, also coming to God deeply, being transparent with God, telling him about how deeply hurt I was, that it was deeper than this person. I couldn't even put blame on this person. I had to think deeply inside and say, Brittney, you deal a little bit with rejection. I had to go deep down to college when I'm giving y'all from college and look at my pattern that you really do give your all and you just have been rejected, and that's where that deep scar is. So I couldn't even put too much fault on him too much. And then I also had to have compassion, which was very hard. But when I got to really see this man's whole lifestyle, the truth later, speaking to his brother and different things, it gave me a pity for this person. Like, wow, you are pitiful. I'm not the only person. So I would say that's another tip too. You have to be, honestly, Alan, you got to dig in that compassion part, even with people who have deeply hurt us. We know that Jesus was the perfect example of being compassionate with people who do deeply hurt us. And when you do that, it helps you to not murder. I'm going to be honest. It helps you to give grace, right? It does, honestly. So those would be like my top things. And then seeing my daughter in my business continuing to still flourish, even though I took I'm going to give y'all an amount, $35,000 hit. I was still growing. That's the part. But my mental was not out. I took 46 flights in 2021 because I was literally running from myself. I could not be home. I could not believe that I got God. So I went on trip after trip, was around different people, picking up bad habits, just doing things honestly that I know was not even me because I'm not even deeply like that. But I was trying to escape. So I do thank God for him reeling me back in.
It's a lot of flights. It's a lot of flights. It makes me think about the time I would fly. And a lot of those times, like just hearing you say that, it makes me think like a lot of times, even though I was in this position where money was being made, a lot of those flights wasn't out of happiness and joy. A lot of times I felt like I was escaping something too. When I was deep in trying to overcome alcoholism, it was like I know that me drinking so much wasn't right, but instead of me attacking it head on, let me just catch a flight. Let me go out of town, and you were trying to, or and you probably can relate. Like I would tell myself that it's not that bad. I'm making money. I'm closing deals. So me being an alcoholic, it's okay because I'm still making money. My client's happy. I'm still going to settlements. And even though I know deep down when I look in the mirror by myself, I know that what I'm doing, I need help, but I'm escaping it by getting on a plane. I'm escaping it by saying, let me just go to Vegas and the party life would be my therapy. When really I need to look within and be like, look, something's wrong. And not telling nobody, not telling people that's close to me and just saying, well, you know what? Because I'm closing deals, I don't got an issue. I don't got a problem. So it's kind of made me think when you was taking all those flights on the outside looking in, they just see you on a plane. Yeah. It's like, oh man, she first class. Mm-hmm. Whole time you really going through it. It's just that you're using this as a coping mechanism right now to try to get through a more internal issue that you're running from as opposed to taking on. So I think that's important to know because we got people that's in our industry that on Instagram or social media, they're not showing the bag. You're not showing that you're not saying, hey, I didn't sell a house in 4 months and my bills are due. Mm-hmm. You're not doing that. You're just showing us the glitz and the glamour and the beautiful parts of life, which is good. There's motivation behind that. But imagine just more of us did take the time and be like, hey, I didn't sell a house in 6 months. But I'm still now dipping into my reserves. Now I gotta focus up because I had a gambling problem, or I wasn't focused on my family enough, or I didn't take God serious when I should be. Like, if we had more of that being talked about, we could help each other more. Like you say, like we're gatekeeping. We're saying, yeah, I sold 41 houses, not this. But what about the bad? What about the bad? What about the bad parts? What about the times where in that time I'm still living at home with my mom? Trying to transition, getting out of that because she wants to move to North Carolina, and I'm in panic mode. Like in my head, I'm like, Mom, why can't you wait? I need more time. Like instead of being like, she did her time already. She lived and worked at Social Security for 30 years for the government. Wow. And I got the nerve, the audacity after she wrote me over 1,000 letters in prison telling her, wait. Mm-hmm. She don't got to wait. If anything, I'm blessed for her to even accept me and live in the basement to be able to get on my feet. But we get into these places in our mind where we feel like people owe us stuff as opposed to taking accountability. So it's the word you said earlier, it's accountability. If you're going to blame somebody, blame yourself. And we don't do that enough. We always show people the good, and then when the bad come, we run from it, or don't show it, but then show everybody this mask. And behind the mask, you sweating, itchy, and we just see the smile. We just see what you put in my photography. But when you home, you behind on bills, you struggling, and you not trying to put the same time in that you putting into your marketing behind yourself. You want to put and make yourself look good on social media as opposed to looking in the mirror by yourself, get away from everybody and be like, God, what I need to do for myself to fix internally what's happening. Take some time away from social media. Take some time away and focus on yourself because you can't grow if you're not taking time to look within. We too focus on trying to reach, but not realizing the stuff we're reaching for isn't any substance to help us inside. So I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's just like it's deep because it's like it don't matter if I'm here in real estate or credit or whatever industry that you're in. We all have these internal issues that we need to take more time, all of us, and then just hone in, take accountability, realize we don't got all the answers. We ain't going to always get all the deals, and things do happen, and we need to own up more and deal with them. So you gave me the personal scenario, in the sense of the renovation period, business-wise, credit-wise. What are some issues that you come across with with so many clients that you deal with that you have learned over the years to give yourself a better strategy to reach where you are now. So the Brittney that was in the credit repair business year 3 or year 4, what strategies or what things that you can mention help you become a better credit specialist to give you that renovation to be better?
That was a really good question. Honestly, Alan, being more relatable. That I went through my transition of divorce, moving back to Savannah, re-speeding up. I noticed that my customer service became even better.
Okay.
Why? Because now Brittney that was on top, not that I'm still not, but I'm restarting. I have to move to Savannah. My love life is non-existent. Now trying to recover and get over this situation with the money. So now my clients who are coming to me with tons of drama, I'm not on this high horse no more. Not that I was before where they can tell, but I knew a little bit.
Right.
Certain things they would tell me honestly out the inside of my head. I'm like, how did you mess this up? Like how did you get a credit card that was 20,000 and now you owe this much? You never understand how somebody did something until you actually are in a situation and then it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I noticed even then the relatableness. God let me see, Britt, I allowed you so you could be much more relatable. Britt, you had a good childhood overall. You had pretty much almost everything you needed. You don't really understand too much of struggle. When I went through that, I mean, it might have not wasn't the average struggle, but it was a struggle. From having to ask, get a car, it's co-signed under my name. Now they're being late. I'm the credit lady though. Right? People don't know this. Just me telling y'all, right? And I've been very transparent with clients who I speak to on the phone. But this person is now, maybe not intentionally, he's going through a struggle and it's late. Whether it was intentional or not, it's messing up my credit now. And that right there just showed me, the enemy just wanted me to feel like, see, this is why you never, the next relationship, never co-sign, never be, like someone, don't be a team player because look at all that you've done. Look at how it's ruining you now. And I know that's a lie. I don't feel like that anymore. I would do it again for the next person. It's just credit, honestly. But I would say, honestly, Alan, my shifting of how I act with my clients, it became better. I was able to be a better boss, more relatable, more humble. I might have seemed humble, but I know behind the scenes, the little things and how I was kind of being arrogant. I could see it, the way I would talk a little bit. Now I'm changing a little bit. And money will change you. People could say it won't, but it will a little bit. Yes, it will. If you never had a good, decent amount, then you can't really understand. So honestly, that's it. Give you that answer like in a nutshell. It would be my downfall allowed me to be more humble, more gracious with my clients, dealing with people who come to me every day, Alan, with anxiety, depression. 10% of the call is about credit. The other 90%, Alan, I am literally an unlicensed therapist.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You understand, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm an unlicensed therapist. So with me going through my downfall, I noticed even my sales went up. Also, one thing, when I started taking all those flights, how could you really oversee a business, right? So I noticed the scale of my business started to come down a little bit. So my money's gone. I'm always gone, and now I'm delegating too much. You can delegate too much as a boss. Please listen to this. If you still new in your business, run your business, put your effort in your business, hire, but still oversee it. I've hired and I wasn't overseeing, Alan. It would be a week or so and I didn't open up this laptop. Because I'm depending on these 3 people to do it. Nobody's going to run your business or love your business like you. I'm noticing the people who's taking the calls, they're not converting the same. They don't have the same energy and passion as Brittney. And so, Alan, when I moved to Savannah in 2022 and closed my office, I had this is nothing. I had a huge office with a conference room and everything in Atlanta. I closed my office space. I came here, literally left all my stuff in storage in Atlanta. It's still there. Yes, I'm still paying for a whole storage with a whole house of everything in there. And I came here and it was like a refresh. Now I'm in my grandparents' house and it's like a little bit, this is a humbling experience because I'm used to my house being more modern, it's more everything, right? And now this house is like, wow, it's antique, it's just not my style. But God let me see this house is still standing. And you need to come back home. In a sense, my spirit needed to be back home. I needed to be back home. And from me doing that, Alan, letting go of all those people I hired, kept just me and my mom, Alan, it went up. I can see myself coming back to myself. I noticed that the conversions is coming back, the customer service, because Brittney is now overseeing it. So that's what I was thinking that.
Wow, that's dope. That's just, I just think that's a beautiful transition when you go from the fixer upper part of you and you give details of where you were, and then just giving people the transition. Because there's people out here that want to be in the credit business. And I'll stop right there for a second. In that realm, for people that are watching this that do want to get in the credit repair business, do you have anything in place for those individuals? Do you have anything that, or something just set up consultation wise, people were trying to get in the business like you?
Thank you for asking that. So I actually do. I've taught over 100 people. I've lost count to do exactly what I do. I go to conferences every year. I have a few ladies who I've taught the class with that's going to go to the conference. So if you're interested, I teach my classes one-on-one because I am very in-depth and passionate. The training is about 10 hours. So it's a 2-day training, 5 hours per day. And I give you the whole foundation, my whole entire blueprint. Nothing you can really Google. You can Google some of it. And it's not to discourage you to Google because you still need to do your own research. But it's going to be some tips and tricks and just 9 years of experience that Google is not going to give you, right? I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts. I'm going to let you know exactly how to get in the psyche of the mind of a client who has debt and you need to now try to help renew their mind. Because remember, you're dealing with people who have a bad pattern of how they manage their money. So being an adult trying to teach another adult how to do that, it can be very hard at times. But God has given me just a way on how to deal with people, how to speak to them, how to hold them accountable, but still do it in a loving way. And so if you are interested in getting into the credit industry, it's more than enough clients for you. I want you to do the math right now. If you charge the client $99, I'm going to go as low as that to start. And God blessed you to have 30 clients every month new. So you get one client new every day, right? But you currently have 100 clients who are paying you, let's say $69. So I want you to pull your calculator out and you do 100 people times 69, because remember, it's a reoccurring business. If you charge your clients monthly, which I would suggest, because they are going to need your services for at least 3 to 6 months, you do 100 times 69 because you got 100 current clients, and then you get 30 new clients every month and they're paying you 99. Do you understand how the money just continues to keep coming? Because those 100 people are going to refer you to their uncle, their sister, somebody in Missouri, Tennessee, Houston, California, and it just keeps going on. And I looked up, and at that point, I'm like, wow, I'm at almost 500 clients consistently, right? And so I just want you to know, if you are interested, it's more than enough clients. You do not need a license. You do not need a degree to do this. I would highly suggest for you to at least become board certified, and I can direct you in that. You can always email me, and I'm sure my information will be in the caption where this is posted. But definitely connect with me because this is what I do.
Got it. You mentioned other states. How many different states can you do this credit in?
Honestly, you can work credit in all 50 states. Now, I'm going to be honest, every state that you live in, the rules may apply differently. So definitely do your research. But I would say yes, all states apply. Just still do your own research because I'm not too sure about every state, okay, but just about. Yeah. Okay.
Great. I think giving people the gems, giving people the backstory, helping people with potential jobs, entrepreneurial capabilities. Great. You gave a lot of great information, which leads right up to our last piece, the after repair value, the finished product of Brittney. Now, I always like to say, when I say finished product, I always uh, lead it with the line after that is ongoing. You know, you're in the business 9 years, but 5 years from now, it'll be what, 14 years. And so this ongoing finished product, you was a fixer upper, you had the situations happen to you, you made your sacrifices, you got your mentors, you got years of experience, and now this finished product, if you had to talk to, you mentioned a little bit of individuals who are trying to get in the industry, whether it's credit, whether it's real estate, whether it's any industry, what advice do you have after everything that you've been through, if you're going to give somebody who's fresh in the industry, fresh in the credit business, fresh in just letting somebody borrow 40,000 and not getting it back? What gems do you have today that you can give to that individual who wants to walk that path of being a successful entrepreneur in our industry?
Honest to God, God first. And that may sound like, oh Lord, here she go. I'm gonna tell you, you cannot escape God. You cannot. If you just stay grounded, and I would say honestly, that's what always kept me honestly out. And even when I deviated, I'm really a godly girl. I really live this life and I really do make my mistakes still. But I would say honestly, I never went too far with things. And things never went too chaotic for me because I always could hear him up here. So I don't care how many good mentors you get. I don't care how much money you make, Alan. If you don't have God, it's going to still dwindle. It's going to still dismantle. It's not going to go great. And so my first thing would be honestly stay saturated in God. If you don't have the deepest relationship right now, it's okay. He said, come as you are. He is married to the backslider, y'all. I be backsliding, trying my best, not repeatedly, but I make mistakes, right? We all do. And so me knowing that, Lord, when I fall short, God, let me come to you because guess what? God is my CEO. I'm not even the CEO of this business. He is. Alan, when I want to make certain investments or choices, I know, Lord, before I give my yes, Lord, let me pray on this. Before I go and try to get this license, because a lot of times people like him who is very well decorated, you will get around an Alan. And that's good, you're inspired, but your journey is not his. And so he may have 4 different licenses. That's not meant for you to do. And so God may want you to focus on your one license or your one area that you are doing great in, but you won't know that if you are not connected to the power source. And the power source is him. So the first tip would be honestly, really cultivating your relationship with God. Christ. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna specify mine. Secondly, the next thing would be get a mentor. Stop being cheap with yourself. Invest. Yes, you can Google. Yes, you can chat GPT. I can tell you that chat GPT still cannot give you human advice as far as the experience. It is giving you things that everybody else was putting in and it's cultivating and giving you data and an answer, which is good answers. Now I'm not even shading. I love chat GPT, right? But ChatGPT can't give you a mentor. Get you a good mentor. Humble yourself. Be honest and say, I need assistance. I'm feeling a little chaotic. I feel like I don't know which way to go. Get assistance, invest in yourself because what took me 9 years to get to, oh, my girls who took my credit class, if they actually implement the stuff that I'm teaching them, they could be where I'm at in 3 years. 3 years, I know that for a fact if they just implement. So that would be my next thing. And then lastly, Alan, to give that, I would say, honestly, be lovable. You don't even understand the rooms and the connections that I've made from just being lovable in myself. Be yourself. You come on this social media and you see this person, you may look at me, think I look put together. If you don't want to dress like this, don't dress like this. Be yourself. If you don't talk how I talk, don't talk how I talk. Be yourself. And I would say that is what honestly has helped propel me. I am myself in any room. I'm an extrovert. If you're not that way, that's okay too, because we love the introverts too. It's good to be able to sit back and observe, and you're more calm, and it's beautiful. Be yourself though, and so allow God to give you love. Some of us walk around grumpy, complaining, mean. That's why you're not in certain rooms. That is why people do not invite you to certain things, and you're trying to figure out why you can't make connection. You're rude. As women, you're not even realizing you're rude. You're complaining. You may be beautiful. You complain a lot. Right. And so that plays a big part as well. Keeping your stress levels down. Make other people want to partner with you because they know you are cool, calm, and collected, and you are somebody that they will want to pair with. So those are my 3 tips. God deeply, don't just say it. Really cultivate your relationship. Get a good mentor and be more lovable. Be yourself and be more lovable. And I'm telling you, it's nothing you can't do with those 3 things in place.
I don't really got nothing else more to say. That was awesome. As always, I enjoy the relationship. I enjoy the advice, the fire that we give each other. I really truly hope that y'all enjoyed this episode. You gotta rewind back a lot of different times and take notes all over again. We can't stress enough that we want you to do that. We want y'all to thrive in your businesses. If y'all need anything, share your social media, so that everybody
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram, Brittney Harrison, Brittney Harrison _. And then on Facebook, it's the same thing. My picture is the same exact way. And of course, my email, you can email me at RRR, that's three R's, wealth, the word wealth, building at gmail.com. And that'll come straight to me. And so I look forward to y'all. Put your pride to the side and reach out to your girl. I would love to reach out and speak to you as well.
Hold yourself accountable. This is episode 6 at the Repair Value with Brittney Harrison. God bless.